Well, as you guys can see, all of the tractors slash mowers are out of the shop, and they're also out of the garage. Let's start with the non-runners. This is the 1958 Simplicity Wonderboy 700 that I just picked up yesterday. May or may not tinker with it, all depends. Then we have Trader, and of course Trader's decals are gonna have to change because it's getting that diesel. So I'll get with my decal guy, and the T316s will get changed. T was for twin, 3's for 3-speed, 16 was for 16 horse, but it now is an 18. But it's going to a 10 horse, so it's going to be a D310. D for diesel. So, and he keeps all my files, so all he's got to do is just change the letters. But don't worry, Trader's not out of the picture yet. And like I said, we're going to take a look and see perhaps what we can do to bring the old Model 19 back. And over here, and I'm sorry guys, but this is a parts machine, is the 1964 Alice Chalmers B10 that I bought off eBay for $100.86 over 10 years ago. It treated me well. So because of the bad bevel gearbox and a couple of other issues that it has, it's been retired and turned into a parts machine. So now what else do we have as far as non-running? Now we have my yard art out front, which is another 1964 Simplicity Landlord, and in its forlorn state, sitting right down there. No need to get any closer to it. But now we get into what is running and driving right now. Let's see, you guys want to start there, or do you want to start there? Let's start over here and work our way around. All right, the infamous and much despised Cub Cadet. And I don't know if I showed anybody. Put a hose tank right there. I have to replace fuel lines. It's got a full tank of gas. But fortunately it's a top feeder, so shouldn't be too difficult. Just got to pull the seat pan off again. Haven't gotten to it. As soon as I do that, get the fuel line replaced. Well, I'm on the fence. Axle, the rear transmission is still doing a good bit of leaking. So let me get my fuel shut off over here, turn it on, and we'll go through and we'll start each one. This may be a longer video, but why not, right? Let's see if it'll start without choke. So it's a very nice Vanguard. Sort of kind of want to just yank the Vanguard out and trash the rest of it. This was a hopeful that wound up going by the wayside because I just gave Ms. Zippo my first legacy. Then we come over to the Sears. You guys remember the trio of Sears? We had the GT 19.9 and the Sears is either 10XL or XL10, whichever way it goes. And this little guy that has actually turned into being kind of a diamond in the rough. So let's see, this one should just fire right off too. Boy, it just runs so quiet. And this one is the hydro. They did make these in a geared. We determined this one's a 1969. Then we come over to Winnie. Now, Winnie's been surprisingly dependable, even with the blown head gasket that it has right now. Make sure we got that on. A little bit of throttle. See if she'll fire without the choke. Nope. You can hear that. Then here's legacy number 2, 60-inch deck. That one has a 54. That one has a itty bitty. I think it's a 32 or 36. Got another 60-inch deck on the Cub, and I have been mowing with it. Just so you know, I've just been recycling the hydraulic fluid, catching it, straining it, putting it back in. I know, kind of a pain, but and then this is what I use to mow inside my fence, and we'll go around the fronts of them as well. Automatic controlled traction as well as posi track on this legacy right here. You gotta stomp on that with your heel. You've got traction in both directions. No need to really go over this one a whole lot. This is the one with the Kawasaki water cooled that is in need of some gaskets being replaced. See if she'll start without, you hear the fuel pump going. See if she'll start without choking. There we go. Alright, then we come over to the latest large compact, or small compact, the 1995 Simplicity Sunstar. That is from the factory, Briggs, Vanguard powered. Let's see what it'll do. Yeah, then we come over here. We have the Alice Chalmers B10 that I brought back to life, and the front axle on the old B10 out there is going on this one. The Kingpin, it's just the front end's just toast on this thing. So let's see if this one's, and I left the gas on purpose to make sure it's not leaking, because I just did a video rebuilding that carburetor real quick. Alright, chokes off, throttle's at low. Let's see if she'll start. It's much happier now that I went through the carburetor. And then of course we have, for whatever crazy reason, the crowd favorite with its newest decal, Punisher skull, in the US flag motif. And let's listen to Ugly Alice. I know I got a weird muffler on it, but can't have normal stuff on here, right? And chiller stays on because at the end of the season I go through and till quite a few gardens. So there we go. And you notice I'm turning fuel on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off. And that's for good reason. It's just preventative. Just to make sure that we don't flood our crankcases or waste a bunch of that precious liquid. Alright. And we have, of course, engine 44 with the big fat wide tires that actually are correct for the Sunstar. You just take them, instead of having the offset out, you turn them around so the offset is facing in, just to keep a narrow track. But engine 44 needed to have a fat bottom. All right, let's see if he's going to start. Oh, I just love the sound of that. 23D, original 9 horse. This one has 12 horse. This is what started my large frame obsession, was this very tractor. It's my all original, unrestored. I have to emphasize that because a lot of people think it's restored. 1964 Simplicity Landlord. It's adorned with a bunch of, you know, look good goodies and a new old stock seat that I lucked onto. There's stories and other videos on that. So, are you ready to go, old landlord? Let's hit it. Yeah. Alright, make sure we shut the fuel off here. Pretty sure I did. I didn't. See? Always check. Then we come around to the only tractor. Only. Yes, believe it or not. I've built a bunch, but this is the only one that I actually went through the process of repainting and refurbishing. I don't want to call it restored because it does have some original older parts. But let's see if the old Squire's going to behave, aka the hoss. You ready? Start for me. We're down to the last one that runs, and that would be what was Mr. Biggie Rat's XXX with a Sunstrand Hydro. I'll lift the seat because the proof's in the pudding. There is the Simplicity Sunstrand. Clutch works the way that it should. Directional lever works the way it should. And the story just goes on and on. You ready? Now this has 16 horse in it. It did have a Kohler Command twin in it. Either overhead cam or Command. I don't remember which. But let's see what we got here. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to take a walk around the front side of these guys. Still have work to do on XXX. Got to get the lights hooked up. I also have to get this grill frame cleaned up and painted, and get the grill inserts cleaned up and painted. And it's going to be a gunmetal lower with a black upper, just for anybody who's wondering. The grill frame itself also will be gunmetal, same color as the rest of the tractor. And then we've also got to take the running boards off and put the original foot stirrups on. They're just going to be painted black. So 1964 Simplicity Landlord is what this started out as. We move down. 3212V is a 1970. 1969 still had the push button start. Then we come to the 1964 Simplicity Landlord. There's been a lot of images and videos on it. And this would be the Simplicity Power Bucket. We come down to engine 44. A dear man put a rolling chassis together for me so that I could have a Garden Mark Squire dedicated to my mother. Let's see right here. Looks like I bumped into something down there on the engine 44. Bummer. Neil and Corey at Click It and Stick It. They're the bomb for decals, either specialty or OEM. And then, of course, in honor of my mother and all of her efforts at Delaware County EMS. Then we come over to Ugly Alice. It would take an entire video to go through everything that Ugly Alice has on it. It's got the best of the best in the fleet, and it is the ugliest in the fleet, and it's the hardest working in the fleet. And I already showed you that it has the tiller on the back, the old round hood style. We come up to the B12. That was the package deal with the diesel. Went through it, did a lot of work to it to get it to where it's at now. In fact, just finished rebuilding the carburetor today, or just rebuilt the carburetor today. Then we have a most recent acquisition, the 1995 Simplicity Sunstar 18 horse Vanguard V-twin, no owning, no Kohler, Vanguard from the factory. A couple little bumps and bruises, but overall in beautiful shape. And I'm mowing with this one too. It does an awesome job. It is a bevel gear driven deck, by the way, just like the later model Legacy there. So I got 19% battery, and we have the, what do we determine this was? 1998 Simplicity Legacy 20 horse liquid cooled that we need to replace some gaskets on. The one that likes to leak out, whoops, right there. So we've got to take quite a bit off the front there to get that done. Let me check my holding tank. Yeah, my holding tank's empty, so I'm going to have to put more in order for it to start and run and get me back to the shop. It has some kind of sensor in it that says, hey, you don't have enough antifreeze, you can't run me. So then we come to Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was aptly named by Robert Retka. Very devoted and very funny subscriber of mine, and I consider good friend. But it underwent a major overhaul on the engine. Of course, we have to replace a head gasket now, but oh man, birds with no respect. That was not there. I'll make sure when I go to move it I don't sit in it. It had a 46-inch deck on it. Took that off, put larger front tires, larger back tires, and a 54-inch deck on, and it's been rock solid. Made by AYP. It's truly been rock solid. I went over a bit on the Craftsman that even proudly states hydrostatic transmission right there up front and center. Just a neat little mower. And then again, yeah, I have a finger for that one, just one finger. It's not my ring finger, not my index finger, not my pinky. Gotta keep it G-rated around here. But it does run and it does mow. And like I said, I've been using this to mow. I've been using Winnie the Pooh to mow. And when I got the Sunstar home, got it tuned up, I mowed about an acre with it. So there you go. There is the fleet of running, not exactly, okay, I say running loosely. They are all running. They're not all serviceable. They're not all able to be put into service, but pretty close. And we've got pretty much just the show tractors down there, the last four. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half. I'm running out of time. This is your friendly neighborhood Zippo. I sure hope that you guys enjoyed this. It's been a long time since I have done a fleet update. This is the current fleet update, along with Trader and the Wonderboy 700 sitting there, and the parts B10 and the forlorn 64 landlord up there. So I promise you guys I will be on the next one. For more content like this and small engine repairs, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications, and hit like if you enjoyed this. Promise you, be on the next one. Later. I'm out of here.